Hello my dear students, welcome to Teacher at Home. Today class we are going to learn the chapter 4 Medieval India Concept of Kingship and Nature of Administration. The heart of the king is a special repository of God's favor and in his he has no equal among mankind. There should be extraordinary discipline and dignity in the court. Light moods of laughing or smiling in court are not permitted even for the nobles. Princes and chieftains should prostrate before the king. A special dress is prescribed for the courtiers. No one except the Prime Minister is allowed to address the Sultan directly. Armed soldiers should accompany the Sultan everywhere. As part of maintaining the royal pattern of life, court etiquettes, dignity and prestige of the king. Ziauddin Barani, Tariq-i Firoz Shahi. You have already learned about the Sultanate dynasties who ruled between 1206 and 1526 CE with their capital at Delhi. Five dynasties, namely Mamluk, Khalji, Tughlaq, Said, Lodi, ruled during that period. Ziauddin Barani here describes the views of Balban, the most important ruler of the Mamluk dynasty on kingship. Turkish tradition. The Turkish tradition maintained the view that the king is equal to God. He is considered as the almighty sovereign and a just person as God. It was from this standpoint that the concept of the unlimited authority of the kingship was derived. The king rules his country just like the head of the family controls the members. His decisions would not be questioned by the members. The position of each member in the family and their right to property were determined by him. Central administration. Important officials and the duties in the central administration of the Sultanate period. Wazir revenue, Mamluk military, Chief Zadir judiciary, Diwan in Insha royal correspondence. The sultans implemented centralized rule in the administrative system. Let's examine its important features. The influence of Turkish tradition. Sultan was the head of the administration, military and judiciary. There were different ministers and officers to assist the king in administration. An exact law of succession was absent. The leadership of the Caliphate of Baghdad was accepted. A strong army was maintained to defend the country from the threat of invasions and for the expansion of the empire. The vast country was divided into different regions for the convenience of administration. Regional laws prevailed at the village level. Local administration. You have learned about the features of central administration of the Sultanate. Let's examine the administrative system at the local level. For the convenience of administration, the empire was divided into provinces, ships, parganas and villages. Separate officers were appointed for each division. Authority was not hereditary. The maintenance of law and order, judicial administration, collection of taxes, and organization of the army were the chief duties of these officers. They were under the direct control of the Sultan. But the Sultan did not directly intervene in the administration of the villages. Iqta system. During the beginning of the Sultanate period, the country was divided into different parts and these were entrusted with the nobles who were also the military commanders. These divisions are known as Iqtas and the holders were known in different names as Iqtadar, Mukti and Wali. The revenue collection and judicial administration of these divisions were the main duties of the Iqtadars. They were also duty bound to maintain an army of their own. They used part of the revenue collected from the Iqta for their own expense and the rest for conducting the administration. But they were not provided with independent authority. When the administration at the center became strong, authority of the Iqtadars got restricted. The Iqtas later became the provinces. Central administration, law of sessions, local administration, military administration. Market reforms. The Sultanate rule of Delhi was based on the strength of the army. The Sultan always paid attention to maintain a well-equipped army. Market regulation of Alauddin Khalji was a reform implemented with the intention of maintaining a large army with a less expenditure. It was necessary to control the prices of essential commodities to reduce the military expenditure. As part of this, the government fixed the prices of essential commodities. Hence, the markets were forced to sell their products at the fixed price. Black marketers and hoarders were strictly punished. The weights and measures were unified. The government established granaries to store the grains brought from the peasants. The corns were distributed during the time of famines at a modern rate. Price. Officers were appointed for the strict implementation of the market regulation. As a result, the soldiers were able to purchase commodities at a moderate price. Hence, there was no need to pay them high salaries. Through these acts, the Sultan curtailed the military expenditure, and the amount thus saved was utilized to enhance the strength of the army. The Mughal administration. It was on the clear, rainless day in the month of Kartika that the great emperor passed away. The news spread like fire in the forest. The people felt suddenly orphaned and insecure without their sire. Terror racked everywhere. The hearts of men troubled with dire apprehension, their faces became drained of color. At this time, I was sitting on the threshold of my house. I heard the dreadful news, which came as a sharp and sudden blow. It made me shake with violent, uncontrollable agitation. I reeled and, losing my balance, fell down the stairs in a faint. At all the houses, doors were kept closed. Merchants stopped sitting at the shops. Nice clothes and ornaments were all buried under the ground. People started keeping their swords ready. They started wearing coarse clothes. You could not recognize the status of the person, rich or poor, looked alike. Fear was visible on all faces, but there was no need to, since the country was free from thieves and robbers. Banarasi Das Arthakadanaka. The Mughal emperors of India were the successors of the Mongolian rulers Genghis Khan and Timur. It was the Europeans who named the dynasty as Mughal in the 16th century. This is a description of Banarasi Das, one of the eyewitnesses on the reactions of the people to the death of Akbar, the greatest ruler of the Mughal dynasty, who ruled Delhi after the Sultanate period. The security provided by the Mughal administration to the people could be understood from the description. In the previous classes, you have discussed the Mughal Empire established by Babur in 1526 CE. The Mughals were able to unify the Indian subcontinent politically except some parts of South India. The period witnessed many fundamental changes in administration. The Akbarnama written by Abul Faisal is one of the important sources of information on the administration system of the Mughal period. Let us examine the features of Mughal administration. Divine right to kingship, influence of Turkish and Mongol tradition, power centralized in the king, based on military power, assistance of ministers and officials in the administration, resistance of local administration. Important officers and their responsibility in the central administration during the Mughal period. Wakil Prime Minister, Wazir Revenue, Zadar Judiciary, Mir Bakshi Military. The local administration, local administrative divisions and the officers concerned during the Mughal period. Subak Subedar, Sarkar Faudar, Pargana Shikdar, Village Chaudhary, Town Kotwal. Local administration. The Mughals paid special attention to the local administration. For the convenience of administration, the country was divided into Shubha, Sarkar, Parganas, and villages. There were a chain of officials for the administration of each division. The collection of revenue, judicial administration, and supervision of the army were their responsibility. The Mughal administration attained strength during the time of Akbar. As a ruler, his aim was to win the support of all sections of people. The policies adopted by Akbar for the same are given below. Adopted the title of Badshah-i-Hind. To maintain religious harmony, he formulated a new faith named Din-Ilahi by inculcating the ideas of all religions. The Rajputs such as Raja Todarmal, Birbal, Mansingh, etc. were appointed as high officials. Akbar and his relatives married Rajput ladies. The army was strengthened by including different sections. Din-Ilahi, Tawhid-i-Ilahi. Akbar wanted to maintain peace, friendship, and unity among different sections of people in his country. In order to have intellectual discourses, Akbar constructed the Ibadat Khana at his capital, Fatehpur Sikri. By inculcating the essence of all these discussions, he formulated the ideology of Din-i Ilahi. It was a combination of ideas and principles of different religions. He never compelled anyone to accept it. It did not have any rites, religious texts, places of worship of priests, except the joining function. Sulkul or peace to all was its basic tenet. Mansabdari system. The base of Mughal administration was a strong military system. Instead of the military strength, the emperors needed the support of the nobles and officials for the maintenance and expansion of the empire. For this, Akbar adopted the Mansabdari system. The term Mansab denoted the rank or position of the Mughal military officer. Those who held the position were called Mansabdars. The position of the officers, their salary, and military responsibility were categorically determined through the Mansabdari system. The rank of a Mansabdar was determined by the number of horses, cavalrymen he maintained. There were more than 30 ranks in the army of Akbar, ranging from Mansabdars of 10 horses to 10,000 horses. Each Mansab had two subdivisions called the Zat and the Zawar. The word Sat means individual. It fixes the rank and salary of a person in the army, while Savar refers to the number of horses a Mansabdar had to maintain. Jagidari system. Jagidari system was another reform introduced by the Mughal emperor to make the administration more effective. The Jagidari system was a higher form of Iqta system in the Sultanate period. It was a system which granted land in lieu of salary to the Mansabdars. The land thus granted was known as Jagir. The officers were provided possession right of the Jagir land only. Such officers are known as Jagirdars. As in the Iqta system, the Jagirdars never lived in or ruled over the land they received. The position of Jagirdar was not hereditary. They were transferred by the king. Their only authority over the ascribed land was the utilization of the revenue collection of this area. Chola administration. Chola kings organized a very strong army. They were the greatest naval power of that period. The Bay of Bengal was known as the Lake of the Cholas. Cholas extended their empire up to Malaysia, Indonesia, Ceylon, etc. The major reason for this was the naval supremacy. Cholas were the predominant political power of South India between the 9th and the 14th century CE. The country was ruled by a central government which included the king as a sovereign authority, ministers and administrator, advisors and the officers. They followed the patrilineal system of inheritance. The Chola administration was regulated through royal decrees. The orders of the kings were circulated to other officers by an important officer known as Olainayagam. The important feature of the Chola administration was a strong military system, including the navy. Village autonomy. As per the decision taken by the Common Sabha at the meeting held at the Gramasabha Mandiram, Chadurvedi Mangalam, Uttaramerur, it has been decided to elect representatives to the various commodities in accordance with the rules laid by the Gram Sabha. Given above, it is an excerpt from the Uttaramerur inscription that gives information about the village autonomy, which was the most important feature of the Chola administration. Let's see the important features of the village autonomy of the Chola period. For the sake of administration, the Chola kings divided the country into mandalams, Valanadus, Nadus and Kotams. A group of autonomous villages formed at Kotam. All the responsibility and authority related to the administration of the villages were vested with the people of the villages. Two councils known as the Ur and Sabha function for the purpose of village administration. The people of the whole village was included in the Ur, whereas the Sabha was only a council of the Brahmins. This council assembled on the premises of the temple. Features of the Sabha are given below. There were separate regulations for the functioning of the Sabha. Rajaraja Chola and Rajendra Chola were the greatest Chola rulers. The Chola developed a standing army, navy and administrative system during the time of their rulers. The construction of the Rajarajeshwara temple at Tanjavur and the conquest of Sri Lanka were made during the period of Rajaraja. Rajendra Chola adopted the title Gangaikonda Chola in commemoration of his victory over the Gangas. The Sabha was divided into many panchayat with separate responsibility for administrative convenience. The members of the panchayat were determined from both selection and election. The members were elected annually. One person could serve as a member of the panchayat for a maximum of 3 consecutive terms. Those who were accused of crimes such as bribery, and theft were not given the chance to contest in the election. Members of the Sabha are called Perumakal, and the members of the Panchayat were called as Vari Perumakal. All the responsibility and powers relating to the administration of villages were vested with the Sabha. Let's see these powers. Receive land for the temples, collect tax by surveying land, undertake public works for the welfare of the people, keep accounts and records, conduct judicial administration of the village. Vijayanagara Empire. So with great care and according to their power, you should attend to the work of protecting the god, punishing the wicked without regulating anything that you see or hear. Krishna Devaraya, Amukta Nalyada. Do you remember the discussions of Vijayanagara Empire of South India in the previous class? Above mentioned lines of Krishna Devaraya indicate the relevance of a king in the administrative system. Centralized administration prevailed in the Vijayanagara Empire. The king had the support of a strong army. To protect the country from the enemies, they constructed large forts. Central administration of the Vijayanagara Empire was called Nayangara system and the local administration as the Iyengar system. Nayangara system. The king was the head of the central administration of the Vijayanagara Empire. There were ministers and royal officers to assist the king in administration. There was only a small army under the direct control of the king. A provincial governors maintained fixed number of soldiers of their own. They provided the service of the army to the king whenever necessary. As they were also military heads, the king awarded them with the title of Nayak along with the specific area of land. The system that prevailed at the center was known as the Nayangara system. Vijayanagara Empire was ruled by four dynasties Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva and Aravindu. Krishna Devaraya was the ruler of Tuluva dynasty. Iyengar system. For the convenience of administration, the empire was divided into provinces, nadus and villages. Village was the basic unit. The villages assemblies functioned in the same way as it did during the period of the Cholas. The day-to-day administration of the village was done by the officers known as Iyengars, who inherited the post. Administrative system is known as Iyengar system. Position of the Iyengars in the village administration was equal to the Nayaks in the central administration. Maratha administration. You might be familiar with Maratha kingdom, which ruled India in the 17th century. Like all other medieval Indian rulers, the Maratha king was also the supreme authority with powers over the legislature, executive, judiciary and military. Over the diagram, which shows the function of the ministers in the council called Ashtapradaya, which helped the Maratha ruler Shivaji in his administration. Senapati, Sumat foreign affairs, Pandit Rao religious and charitable activities, Mandrin Sajiva Amatya finance officer, Nyaya the chief judicial officer, Peshava prime minister. From this, it can be understood that the central administration had the support of an elaborate ministry. The ministers were the main advisors of the king. The office was not hereditary. Let us discuss some other features of the Maratha administration. There was an espionage to observe various officers and state affairs. Local administration was prevailed. Local administration of the Marathas. Maratha kingdom was divided into many parts for the convenience of administration. These divisions were provinces, districts, parganas and villages. The officers were directly appointed by the king. Country was further divided into Swarajya and Moghalai. The Swarajya was the territories of the Marathas, whereas the Moghalai was the regions annexed to the kingdom. In addition to a land tax collected from the Maratha country, two kinds of taxes, Chavat and Sardeshmukhi, were collected from the annexed regions. During the medieval period, many fundamental changes occurred in the administrative system of India. Administrative system implemented by the medieval rulers influenced later administrative system considerably. Medieval India concept of kingship and nature of administration. Sultanate rule, central government, local administration, Iqta system, market reforms. Mughal rule, central government, local administration, Dini Ilahi, Mansabdari, Jagirdari. Chola rule, central government, village autonomy. Vijayanagara rule, central government, Nayangara system, local administration, Iyengar system. Maratha rule, central government, Ashtapradhan, local administration. So that's all about this chapter. If you are interested, please do like and share and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.